Hey guys, this is the deck profile you guys been waiting for Tempest PsyGustos. As you can see, it has a Gusto engine, a Psychic engine, a E-Drag engine, a Lightsworn engine. It's just a lot of engines put together and it works really well. Alright, I'll just get started. For the Gusto engine, you have 3 cams to shuffle in the recruiters and the griffins. You have 3 Gusto Goldos for recruiting, 3 Gusto Eagles with the recruiter cycle, and then the 3 windows to continue that loop. Next you have 3 Gusto Griffins, which works well with Tempest, Lumina, and Guiderg, but we'll get to those later. For the Psychic engine, you have 3 Serene Psychic Witch, and 1 Esper Girl. Pretty self-explanatory. Esper Girl to get freeze, Serene Psychic Witches basically to get the Esper Girl out if you need to, or you could get out a cam or a window depending on the situation. Next we have Shield Wing, which works well with Debris Dragon to make Guiderg to get your plays going. Just 1 because he's kind of useless if you draw him. And basically the reason why you have all this Lightsworn stuff is to mill him as fast as possible with the dragons and then try to get debris back to your hand with Tempest to get the Shield Wing and start going off with your plays. So then you have 2 Debris Dragons. As you see, you get Shield Wing with it, so it works. But also you could get pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different monsters from your graveyard with it, which is Raikou, Goldo, Eagle, Esper Girl, and Shieldling. So you don't always need to grab Shieldling, but it's like once your Guiderg's done, you basically could get any other thing. As you see, it works well if you combo it. If you get a Scrap Dragon out and you summon this and you get a Goldo and you pop 2 cards, still get the summon with Goldo, so it works. For Lightsworn engine, you have 2 Luminas. Basically to pitch for Griffin in case those are in your hand, and since Lightning got banned, your discarding outlets for Griffin went down, so this just helps. And then if anything, if you have a Lyle in the grave, you just special summon it and pop a back row if you really need to, and then you get the special summon with the Griffin too, and then you could go off with Synchros or Exceed, whatever you need to do. To Lila to pop back row into mill, basically self-explanatory. Raikou to pop cards and to mill, because like I said, you would start trying to get Shieldling really into the graveyard, and if you are to mill a dragon, the dragons, not the worst thing in the world because they help you in the grave. And also if you're to mill any of the Gustos, you could just reshuffle them in with camp, so it's not a big loss. For E-Dragons, you have 3 Tempest, basically to pitch with Griffin, to add Debris Dragon or just to special summon something. And then you have 3 Redox. Yeah, 3 Redox works good just because of the Psychic engine. You could just pitch any Serene Psychic Witches or Esper Girl to the graveyard and special summon something. Basically like a Monster Reborn. Maybe I'd put it down to 2, but for now works well at 3 because you barely draw into your dragons anyways. For spells, we have 2 Solar Recharges, just basically to ditch off any of these to draw more and mill more just to get to your pieces faster. And then a Charge of the Light Brigade, also just to help mill. And then if you have a Griffin in your hand, and let's say for by chance you mill Lila, you basically charge the Light Brigade, you get Lumina, then you can just pitch Griffin, special summon Lumina, and then do whatever you need to do from there. 1 Mind Control, it's not really necessary, but it helps in case there's like, unless you want to synchro for something, get something off the guy's field or whatever, just a good card. Dark Hole, self-explanatory, it's a good card. 3 Emergency Teleports. You could drop this to 2 because then again, you really only you technically have 7 targets, which are the 3 windows, 3 Strange Psychic Witches, and then the Esper Girl. But you kind of Yeah, well, it's pretty much useless after you draw the Esper Girl, because you usually want to use it with Cam to get a freeze out. So you could drop it to 2, but for now it's at 3. I have it at 3. And then for traps, I have a Sixth Sense in here, but I highly doubt I'm ever gonna buy one, and it's pretty sure gonna get banned. So as a substitute for now, I put a Treasure Trap Hole just because I don't run any other traps, and you don't really have any protection in this deck. If you get screwed out of your loop or anything like that, and since I don't run any Maxis or Veilers, you get OTK'd pretty quickly if they destroy a monster and it's not Goldo, and then your loop just ruined. So that's basically your protection, but then again you might mill it, so it's not really, it's very minimal protection. You could maybe switch up some monsters in here, and like maybe take out a few, like an emergency teleport, a Serene Psychic Witch or something, and then something else to add the max season, because then it gives you more targets to pitch with Redox. And then you also have something to help you draw and all that, but for now, you go plus enough of this deck that you don't really need it. But then it's all personal preference. Extra deck. For Exceed monsters, we have Livier. It works well with the Luminas. If you want to pitch a Griffin, you can get a Goldo, and then you can make this. And let's say you had an Esper Girl banished, and all that. It helps because basically you're banishing a lot of your cards anyways. So if you can make a rank 3 and you can get something out of your banish zone, it's worth it. For rank 4s, I have right now I have Maestroke and Dagusto Emerald. I'm thinking of switching one of these out for a Lightning Chidori, because like I said, I don't have protection, so like if an Ophion comes out, I kind of don't really have an out to it unless I get really lucky and the guy's not that good and I find a way through it. But besides that, there's not really anything you can do. So I'm thinking either switch out maybe the Maestroke and make the Lightning Chidori, since you can make it with the Cams and with the Bree Dragons, but that's still not set in stone. And the Gusto Emeralds there basically in case you need it to shuffle in all your extra deck monsters. Then let's say it's a long game and you need a Black Rose again, you could just reshuffle it back into there, because level 7s are kind of important in this deck, I guess you can say. So yeah, basically that's what that's there for. And then in case you need to shuffle in any of your Psychic Engine or your Dragon Rulers, Debris Dragons, whatever you need to shuffle in, basically like a Pot of Avarice, so it helps. Which this card might come out of the deck if I could get a pot of what's it called? Yeah, Duplicity. You could main that in, but and then just take out the Daigusto Emerald, but it has a kind of a big cost not being able to conduct your battle phase. But then again, it does just free up an extra deck space, and it is a +1, so it's not the worst. And then yeah, you can just shuffle in 3 different, because you have a whole bunch of different types in this deck: Dragon, Psychic, Winged Beast, Spellcasters, Beasts, Dragons. That card will just help you out. You maybe you'll put 2 in there, but it's pushing it. For synchros, we have Catastor, somewhat simple to make. Armades, which is I find one of the best cards right now, just because if you're playing a lower tier deck, they're gonna run a lot of traps. If you have this, you're pretty much set. They won't be able to do anything. And also, if they have like an Honest or Colute or Counter Punch, they're screwed because they can't activate it if you attack them. Level 6s, you have a freeze just for that well, like the OTK with Angry Birds, as in, just shoot all these birds into their monsters, make them take damage. You have a Orient Dragon, just because the Breed Dragon can only be used as a synchro monster for Dragon. So basically, if you use your shield, if you made your guy Durg already, and then you only had a target for Shield Wing, you could technically make this and banish any synchros they have on the field if they have any. Dirg, which is the main part of this deck. Basically, if you get this card out and if they don't bottomless it, you're pretty much good because you're just gonna keep adding Griffin to your hand. You're gonna pitch it, and you can special summon any Gusto from your deck. Which normally I go for Cam depending on the circumstances, just so I could go +1. And then after that, if they don't do anything, you could just next turn summon like a Eagle with it, with Griffin's effect, synchro one up for 5, or you could this, like the Goldo, synchro for 7, special summon a Tempest or Redox, make a big, oh my god, I missed those, I'm an idiot. Big guy and Draco Sack, okay, I'll go back to those after. Okay, Black Rose, yeah, basically, you can make this semi-simple, I guess you can say. If you can manage your recruiters properly, since they all depend on each other and they all have different types of summoning conditions after. If you could make the loop properly and you can end up with a gold on the field and you have a cam in your hand, summon, shuffle 2 back in, special summon Black Rose, that's it. Stardust, because it's Stardust. Scrap Dragon works well with that thing I was saying with Debris Dragon and Gusto Goldo. So, why not? Crimson Blader, just because of all the freaking E-Dragons and all that right now, you basically need to put that in there. If you notice you're playing E-Dragons, if you get rid of their monster, you're pretty much good. You basically have game after, unless they somehow stop it, but highly unlikely. And then right now I have Miststorm in here, but I think there's a new rank level 9 coming out. Draco Ascension, I think it's called. Draco's. I have no idea what his name is. Yeah, it's another level 9, which works like the more cards you have in your hand when you summon, there's attack gained by I'm not sure how much. I think it's like 800. Which this deck works well because like at the end of your plays you always have like 5-6 cards in your hand. So basically you always have like 3,000 or 4,000 attack. And this one right now is just kind of like my compulse because you don't really run any traps. I did have Star Eater in here before, which you could just make by summoning a big dragon and debris dragon. But I decided to throw Miststorm in there instead. And maybe I could replace something and put a Star Eater in, but I am not too positive if I will or not. And sorry for missing these rank 7s. Well, Big Eye because one, it's Big Eye, you just take your opponent's monsters, no cost, so why the hell not? And then Draco Sack because it's Draco Sack. And that's about it. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time.